Is God sovereign? Yes, of course He is. But what does it mean to call Him sovereign? Dr. David Allen reminds us that when we're debating with Calvinists, sometimes this can get confusing because they have the same vocabulary, but oftentimes a very different dictionary. Some Calvinists have defined sovereignty to mean that God is ultimately and decisively in control of all human decisions. For instance, listen to this interview with Dr. John Piper, a well-known Calvinistic pastor.
Now, the first way you ask the question, is it an antinomy or a contradiction or humanly inexplicable how God can be absolutely sovereign over all human decisions and those decisions still be responsible, accountable decisions? I think that is the one, for me anyway, for which I don't have an ultimate answer. It doesn't work for me. So I have no final explanation. So at that level, the antinomy that Packer talks about between humans being held accountable for their actions, which they absolutely in the Bible clearly are, and God being ultimately, decisively in control of all of those decisions. Those are two truths in the Bible. I would die for either one of them. I don't solve that problem with free will. It works. It doesn't provide any explanatory help to me at all, nor do I find it taught in the Bible. I'm willing to just live with that mystery.
In this clip, he defines sovereignty as God being ultimately and decisively in control of all human decisions. Now, I want you to notice, this is not just about the decision to follow Christ. It is about all human decisions. Yes, even the evil decisions of man. On John Piper's website called Desiring God, it says this, quote, God brings about all things in accordance with His will. In other words, it isn't just that God manages to turn the evil aspects of our world to good for those who love Him. It is rather that He Himself brings about these evil aspects for His glory. This includes, as incredible and unacceptable as it may currently seem, God's having even brought about the Nazis' brutality at Birkenau and Auschwitz, as well as the terrible killings of Dennis Rader and even the sexual abuse of a young child. End quote. So some Calvinists have defined sovereignty ultimately to mean determinism, i.e. that God determines the desires and the choices of every single creature.
Whoa, you're saying that God's sovereign will that always comes to pass includes sin? Yes.
Has God predetermined every tiny detail in the universe, such as dust particles in the air? And then I should add here, including all our besetting sins.
Yes, which means yes. Every horrible thing and every sinful thing is ultimately governed by God. And that's a problem, but
the problem is that John Piper and many other Calvinists are defining sovereignty to mean that God meticulously controls all things that come to pass, including men's evil thoughts, desires, and actions. But we must understand the difference between being in control versus being controlling. For example, you may say that your boss is in control of your department, but that says nothing about his leadership style or how he's chosen to rule over his department. As the one who is in control, your boss has the ability to be controlling and look over your shoulder and make all the decisions for you, micromanage you at every turn, or he has the ability to allow you to make your own choices. So we can understand God as being sovereign to mean that He is controlling and micromanaging every single dust mite as well as decision of man, or we can understand sovereignty as it's defined, as one who's in control and can do whatever He pleases to do. Psalm 115:3 gives us a great working definition of sovereignty. God is in heaven, He does whatever pleases Him. But we cannot assume that what pleases God is to control all of His creation. In verse 16 of the same chapter, He even says, The highest heavens belong to the Lord, but the earth he has given to mankind. That means he's given a level of autonomy or separateness to his creation. This is why Jesus taught us to pray, "Lord, let thy will be done here on earth as it is in heaven," a prayer that doesn't make much rational sense if God's will is always meticulously being carried out here on earth, just like it is in heaven. A well-known author and pastor, A.W. Tozer, defines sovereignty well when he says, quote, "God sovereignly decreed that man should be free to exercise moral choice, and man from the beginning has fulfilled that decree by making his choice between good and evil. When he chooses to do evil, he does not thereby countervail the sovereign will of God, but fulfills it, inasmuch as the eternal decree decided not which choice the man should make, but that he should be free to make it. If in his absolute freedom God has willed to give man limited freedom, who is there to stay his hand or say, 'Why dost thou?' Man's will is free because God is sovereign. A God less than sovereign could not bestow moral freedom upon his creatures. He would be afraid to do so." Imagine if you happened upon a man playing both sides of a chessboard, and you asked him why, and he said to you, "It's the only way I know how to ensure my victory." But then you happened upon another man who was actually taking on real opponents. They were lined up as far as the eye could see, and he was so masterful, so good at chess, that he defeated each and every one of them. Which one is really more powerful and impressive? The one who has to play both sides of the chessboard by controlling both the good and the evil in order to gain the victory, or the one who's legitimately just more powerful than any opponent that comes against him? The world defines power as the ability to control others, but God has defined power as the ability to overcome, to redeem, to show mercy. To illustrate the difference between these two views of power, watch this clip from the movie Schindler's List, where Mr. Schindler confronts one of the Nazi soldiers.
I watch you. You're not drunk. Oh, that's real control. Control is power. That's power.
Is that why they fear us? They fear us because we have the power to kill arbitrarily. A man commits a crime, he should know better. We have him killed and we feel pretty good about it. Or we kill him ourselves and we feel even better. That's not power, though. That's justice. It's different than power. Power is when we have every justification to kill, and we don't.
You think that's power?
That's what the emperor said. A man stole something, he's brought him before the emperor, he throws himself down on the ground, he begs for mercy. He knows he's going to die. And the emperor pardons him. This worthless man, he lets him go.
I think you are drunk.
That's power, Ammon. That is power.
The most powerful one of all chose to come in a lowly, humble manger. He demonstrates his power not by controlling his creation, but by dying for it. God's sovereignty is best demonstrated not in his control over humanity, but in his sacrifice for humanity. In your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus, who being in the very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, and being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. Philippians 2, 5-8. God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, comes not from the Father, but from the world. 1 John 2:16. As God said through the prophet Ezekiel, rid yourself of all offenses you have committed, and get a new heart and a new spirit. Why will you die, O people of Israel? For I take no pleasure in the death of anyone, declares the sovereign Lord. Repent and live. To find more on this topic, or to help us spread the news of God's love and provision for all people, please visit Soteriology101.com.